A very good morning to you. It really doesn't seem like this so-called beast from the east has arrived, although to be fair it's been very, very cold overnight. And yes, I've hung a blanket over the door of the lodge on the inside and lit the stove in there, just keeping the place warm. The cottage was quite warm this morning when I got up, because I think just keeping the fire in quite low overnight, see, it heats up the walls of the cottage. The walls are built from stone, and see, look at this. This is frozen. This big copper dish, and there's some ice in the rain barrel there. Oh, it's actually quite thick. So, of course, I've been out and filled up the bird feeders. There's the sofa ready to go to the recycling. I've been cutting back all of the valerian along there. So, of course, the sun is shining, so it's good to get out and do a little bit of work. Oh, here's Madame. Madame Beautiful. She's been off on her jollies for the past hour or so. She'll go into the house now and find a place to sleep. So, we shall go down and have a look at the pond. Now, because it's been so dry recently, in fact, I think this is the possibly the 5th or the 6th day without rain. There's a great deal of drying going on, and so all these little twigs, you know, the little twigs that you find in the hedgerow, they're beautifully air dried at this point, so they make really good kindling. So it's worthwhile going out and collecting up these little air dried sticks, because you can never have enough kindling. And just throw it into a pile in a covered place. Now, I think it was Sven of Kentucky asked me what a certain building was when I was filming the lime trees yesterday, and I think, Sven, it is the little wood store that used to be the old hen house that you may have been looking at. Failing that, it's either the barn, the cottage, or one of the 2 sheds. Well, there's the 3rd shed at the top of the drive. Jack, come here. The pond is frozen. Oh, wow. Oh, look at that. Really is very cold. See, I'm wrapped up really warm today. Jack, come here. He's a bold boy sometimes. Now, the coltsfoot flowers are just coming up. Can you see those lovely little yellow flowers? Oh, look at this mad wee cat. She's followed me down the drive. So they're beautiful because the flowers come up, of course, before any of the plant itself comes up. So that's coltsfoot. Now, Jack, we'll go in here and have a little look. Well, the ground isn't too frozen. Oh, masses of frog spawn, and some of that's frozen on the top anyway. Ah, little I can do about that. It should be okay though. I don't think that there's I don't think the ice is too thick. It would only be the top the top spawn that would be affected. There's frog spawn in there too. That's probably got a better chance because it's in deeper water. And in fact I can see a few frogs in there. Let me see if I can just get a... No, they're down. Oh, you just... Maybe you can see them moving around there. They're down in the silt. Let's go up, talking about silt, we'll go up to the silt pond and have a little look. See what's happening up there. There's lots of sticks here, I need to get down and collect them. They'll be very well dried. Look at that wee rascal up the tree. And there's lots more kindling here. No, gosh, is it Pauline? Pauline from Fuchsia Cottage? Pauline, I got your check yesterday, so I'm posting off your book today. Thank you for that. I think it is Pauline. Now let's have a look up here in the silt pond. See, the sky's very clear, which of course makes it much colder because Ireland is a wonderful place for cloud, and wherever you have cloud cover, you know you've got warmer temperatures. That's basically what it comes down to. So the snow is expected Thursday. I listened to some weather forecasts and Annette C. I don't listen to one radio station. I tune into RTE, which is the state-funded radio station. I tune into that, you know, for the news and for the weather forecast. And in between, I do go on to other radio sites as well, and I also would use the internet because of course there's a lot of good weather forecasting on the internet. I'm just looking at this tree, it looks a bit... Let's see if I can straighten it a wee bit here. No. Oh yes, of course this is now facing east. I can feel the cold coming across that field. See, the nice thing about creating any kind of woodland, no matter how small, I mean this is on just slightly under 3 acres, but you can create beautiful little woodlands in, you know, 1/4 of an acre, because it's all about shelter and microclimate and possibilities. That's looking interesting now. The way the bamboo is growing around the silt pond there. Seems to be growing just in a line. Oh, I see the catkins. Yes, just focus this. Can you see them up there? Just there. They're just shining like little jewels in the sun. They're gorgeous. Okay. You can see everywhere I go here on this very small holding woodland that, oh come on, I hear you, come on. Shh. Do you hear her meowing? She's sort of crying. Come on, Beauty. Come on. Oh, there she is there, look. Just going through the trees. Come on. Come on. A real kind of pitiful cry, like, oh, you've left me behind. Why could you do that? Oh, come on then, little one, you have to keep up with us. So yeah, you can see over there, look, just where I created just a little miniature sort of habitat. You know, I would never let anything go to waste in terms of any little bits of wood, anything at all that's, you know, cut down or that breaks off trees, or, you know, like here, I've used lots of stuff that I've cut down for a little path just to take my feet up out of the wet. I think she's run up the tree. Anyway, I'll keep walking. I don't want to be standing still. Jack! Great depth of leaves here, leaves. You know, that kind of leaf mold builds up, creates the soil. Birch trees and sycamore and willow. And there's the cottage up there. Just cross over here. Bamboo and horse chestnut. Unlikely combination, isn't it? But it works. And then every so often I'll go and I'll cut down masses of bamboo and pile it up, and then I've cut down branches and stuff as well and coppice. Just pile it up, and you're making habitat all the time. Oh, two beautiful wood pigeons. just flown out of this beautiful ash tree. Now this is a little bit of cutting that I'll have to do. It's this is obviously dead wood now, but look at the amount of bits of ash here on the ground. This is interesting because it looks as though the ash trees kind of widened. The gap has widened a bit. That's interesting. Because here, of course, is a little fairy house. Can you see in there? You see? Now, Bealtaine Cottage being the place it is, I don't need to go round and make fairy houses, you see, because they're here. And not just the fact that they're here, but they've been emerging over the past 13.5 years. And look at what's growing just by the entrance. That's called lords and ladies. And then out here, of course, thick layers of sphagnum moss. Ivy growing around it. And then here, little primroses. And here, bluebells. And they're the real bluebells, not the Spanish bluebells. And you see the bluebells have spread. And then there's celandines coming up. And here, as the fairy wood is transforming, the goat willow is starting to fall over. So there's opportunity now for stronger, more resilient trees to grow. More ash trees, sycamore, beech, birch. It's transforming all the time. Every time I walk down through the fairy wood, there is another transformation has happened. I mean, this wasn't here the last time I came down. There appears to be like a teppee. It's amazing. Some of these ferns, look how they've stayed in place over the winter. Jack? Oh, you're there. So I might come down here with the saw and just open up that path again, because the path is closed. This is the fairy tree. There's a video up on this site, and I think it's called Fairy Tree Burial. And it tells you all about why that tree is so special. And the regeneration keeps going and going. Here we have beautiful little ash trees, and there's a little holly. Just amazing. And what is this? Looks like a little fairy tree. Come on, Jack. Lots of wood here as well. Masses of kindling. This is opened up even wider. Of course, this is where the rowan tree, when it fell, pulled part of the old wall away, created this crevasse. Well, it certainly is a day to be outside working. Now I think what I'll do, it's quite warm in the tunnel, ish. I say ish. What I'll do is I'll close the doors in the tunnel now, because I've had the doors open for over a week. Someone asked me about the, let's see if I can get this closed. Someone asked me about the plastic on the tunnel, what kind of plastic it was, sort of almost inferring that it was something very, very special, because the plastic has lasted for 13 years. It was the middling price plastic, so it wasn't the cheapest and it wasn't the most expensive, and as far as I can remember, the grade was, I think it was 6mm. But you see, it hasn't lasted because it's 6mm plastic. It's lasted because, number one, it was stretched very tight on the day. Number two, there was snow wires put up. You see all these wires? Really keeps it very tight, because it's like a drum. See? It's also running north to south. So the rounded bits, see, that's west and that's east. Now the prevailing wind in Ireland is from the west. So when the wind hits this tunnel, because it's a rounded shape facing into the west, it just blows up over it. It's not hitting resistance. And the same with the east. because there's an east wind blowing at the moment because of this cold coming in from the east. The north, as you can see, is very sheltered. Now that tree with the little bamboo chimes on wasn't here. I planted that. I've planted all those trees. The big ash tree further down was here, and the rowan tree had blown over. So initially it was fairly exposed, but I've planted lots of shrubs. I've planted trees like the larch tree, the beech tree, the apple trees in between, the thorn trees. I've allowed those to come up, and of course lots and lots of stacking of cuttings, stacking of branches, stacking of stuff underneath. So it creates not an impervious barrier, but a barrier that does allow the wind through, but by the time it gets through, it's hardly noticeable. It's just air. Now the same on the south. If we look up towards the south, lots and lots of planting, and right up there at the end of the tunnel, lots of planting. And then we look into the west, and you can see everything that's here I have planted, everything. This was completely exposed. And if you look at the early pictures, and there's a link to the website below, and on the right hand column on the website you will see Bealtaine Cottage, you know, the transformation. So do have a look. There was nothing here. It was just exposed, poor land with rushes on it. Now you can also see here into the east, I've done a lot of planting. Lots of willow, lots of shrubs, lots of small trees. Because again, you don't want to stop the wind, because that causes resistance. You want to slow it down. So wind that would have come across here, say 13.5 years ago at, you know, 100 kilometers an hour and more, when you get these storms, you know, they're very, very high winds. But the time it reaches into the middle of this land, it's slowed down to a negligible. And I mean negligible. You can be out here in a storm and there's no real wind coming at you. So planting is very, very important. And you know, I see over and over again, I see polytunnels erected, and they're just there on their own in the middle of a garden or in the middle of a field, and there's nothing really around them. It's as though people are frightened to plant around tunnels. Like I was told, oh, you know, you're going to have too much shade, you won't be able to grow anything. Utter nonsense. People need to start speaking from their own experience and not repeating nonsense that other people are repeating. Now the rhubarb's coming up there quite nicely on the right, and I'm going to be banking up some more compost around that. So I need to get my skates on now. Had a lovely breakfast. I had 2 slices of really life-giving seeded and grained bread, toasted, homemade hummus on the top, and then half an avocado sliced on the top of that. And it was delicious. So I do feel quite buoyed up now with energy. Oh, Buddha has got some beautiful moss growing on his head. Finally got some hair. A little bit of a bald spot on the top. What is this now? 20? Just put my glasses on. Oh, 29 minutes, my goodness me, half an hour. Well, that's enough, I'd say. So blessings to you all, and we're still enjoying sunshine and blue skies, and the birds are singing. So no snow yet, but I'm prepared for it. Blessings to you all. Have a lovely day.